Hi, I'm Caren. Welcome to Texas Farmstead Living. Here at the Farmstead, our two AEROMOTOR windmills need their leathers changed. So on today's video, we're going to show you how to change the leathers on the plunger and check valve without pulling up the well pipe or cylinder. Our well is 60 foot deep, and so they're going to pull it by hand without using heavy equipment. I hope this video will help you, because I believe windmills are going to become more important in the future. Windmills are an iconic symbol of homesteading. The Texas landscape is dotted with these relics from the past. For us, windmills mean water security. We have two AEROMOTOR windmills at our farmstead. One supplies the water for our off-grid home farmstead house, and the other is at our homestead house. Windmills arrived in Texas in the 1880s. As you can see in the background, our home has a water tower. Our home was built in the late 1870s, and so this water tower supplied water for the home. A few feet away, we can see the remains of where a windmill stood. Probably in those days, the base of the windmill was made of wood. So today, we have a local man that is going to come change the leathers on the windmill. And he is from German descent, and he learned this craft from his father. To get started, the first thing you need to do is drain the water out of the windmill, or you're going to get wet. Second thing you need to do is turn off the windmill's blades.
Just put that pipe wrench on the rock.
Got it?
Leave it sleep like this.
Getting it?
I'm gonna have to have the pipe wrench. I'll get the pipe wrench.
If you want to see detailed instructions of how to change the leathers, please watch till the end of the video, and Mr. Rueffer is going to give you a tutorial.
We're gonna get the bottom check after we get. You want to? Well, we can get both of them. It don't matter. I usually get the top, then I go back and get the bottom. So let it go. Now this is where we get to. Tell you what, this may not work. Let me pull up on it and then you tap. Hard. enough, huh? I knew that was going to make this complicated.
Zoom in on that.
The close-up. This is the check valve, and this is the
Plunger valve.
plunger valve. And these are 3 leathers on that. 1 leather here, and then another washer inside here. It keeps that.
But that does.
And it connects together like this. We'll show you how to put it back in the hole.
When you put it back in the hole, you put a little leather on this and you drop that in the pipe. I'll show you.
Or they don't look
They're not that wore, but the top, these two are a little bit.
Do you know the names of all that stuff?
What's that?
Is there different names for everything, or is it just leathers?
Leathers, plunger valve, check valve.
All three.
This is your foot piece for your plunger. This is your foot piece for your bottom check. Your spool.
All the leathers are the same.
Yeah, they're not. They're
interchangeable.
They got graphite on them that makes them kind of run smoother in the cylinder. They make these are 95s. They make a 94 that's a soft leather. Doesn't have it runs smooth. It runs, but they wear out really fast. Sometimes I use them just because.
How do you know how much to scrape off?
This is how much my daddy used to scrape off. That's how I know.
Okay. That's a good reason.
Maybe half of what's
just enough to
there. It's got a little a little swelled area. Taking that off. You have to trim every leather that way?
On the top on plunger valve. There you go.
I mean all three of them?
Yeah.
So you got to have a sharp knife.
Well, semi-sharp. I wouldn't say this is sharp, but it does the job.
And these go on.
You put leather on, that goes nice.
That goes down inside the leather like that. Sorry about that.
So changing leathers is just that little round thing?
Yeah.
Just this.
Most of the wells that have a deep well cylinder are usually 150, 200 and plus feet deep, where you can't pull it by hand. You can, but you got to be pretty stout.
How deep is ours?
60.
63.
pipe. Once when I was little, we changed the leathers out, but during the night the cover got knocked off, and we dropped the pipe and everything back down in the well, put it all back together. It wouldn't perk, so I had to take it all back out. And a toad frog had fell down in the well overnight, and it got caught in this check valve. A toad frog made us do the whole thing over a second time for no reason. We should have covered it better.
If the well's not sealed up, you have a problem with frogs and mice getting down in there. It's getting sucked up in the bottom.
Right. Okay.
It happens a lot.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of wells that are not probably up to.
Is ours covered?
Ours is
Ours, you got
good.
it sealed. Yeah, yours is right.
Ours is correct.
But there's some out there that are not that way, and most of these ranchers are kind of on the line of we don't want to. I'm gonna get something. I'm gonna spread this top leather a little bit.
Couple years.
doesn't do anything.
How wide is the pipe?
2-inch pipe is
2-inch
what
pipe.
it's called.
All the way down to
What
the...
these do is they keep the metal rod ends from rubbing on the metal pipe. You don't have holes. If you didn't have that, you have a problem with holes rubbed inside the pipe.
You need to drop that down in there.
I'll get that and get ahead of myself.
All right, see what you're doing. Look, show her that. When you put it back in, this drops in individually. Hear it? It sounded like it did.
Little water. You hear the double hit?
Oh yeah, I did.
I mean,
I
she
didn't
didn't.
hear the double one.
It was not very loud. You got it? Okay, you do not screw it back onto that bottom of the valve. It just stays sitting on the bottom of the well.
Is it pushing it or
Huh?
keeps it from hitting the bottom?
What? I'll explain it.
How long have you been doing windmills?
For 32 years.
So are you 35?
Huh?
Are you 35?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I wish.
What's that thing called? A sucker rod?
This is a sucker rod.
Oh, I gotta get that out of the way. Just set it down.
What did that pipe do? I don't remember. Helped y'all pull that out?
Yep, pull that sucker rod
I
out.
had to get the bottom checked. Top wrench on it.
Do you have a partner?
Nope.
Or how do you do this by yourself?
He does all this by himself.
I prefer to do this by myself. I've had people help me that stood back and watched me work while I paid them. A little grease on. No. Put it up here. That's good enough.
Maybe that's why you don't
Turn it
have
back off.
do
Okay.
it.
It's not the camera, the windmill.
Oh.
Turn the camera back. Are you ready?
Turn it off.
I don't want to go too fast on you. camera's not running though, is it? Sound.
Yeah, it is. But you can hear the sound. So he's changing the oil. That's what he's doing?
He's checking the oil.
So that house is gravity flow.
Huh?
That house is gravity flow from the...
I figured that's what y'all do. You asked me a while ago if other people had windmills for their personal use. I have one behind my house in case the electricity goes out. Back in 2021, we had that bad freeze.
Yeah.
I left my windmill on. If I needed water, I could get water for the house. Because they'd turn off the electricity for the rolling blackouts.
Yeah.
And I use that's where I can make sure I never ran out of water.
It was hard to hear every detail about when he was changing the leather, so Mr. Rueffer is going to give you a very detailed instruction of how to change leathers. Okay, to start with, when you buy the cylinder, it comes in a box like this, and this is what the cylinder looks. It's at the bottom of the windmill, right, Mr. Rueffer?
Yes.
Okay, show us what's inside the cylinder when you open the box.
First of all, this is an 1 7/8 inch by 24 inch deep well cylinder.
Okay. Okay, the plunger and the check valve are inside the cylinder.
It comes with the cylinder inside, already leathers.
Okay, hold it up the way it is down there. Okay. So
This is the way it goes.
It looks something like this.
Inside the cylinder.
Okay.
It comes tied together.
You mean it's like screwed together?
Yeah, it's screwed together when it comes.
Okay.
All right. This is the bottom check valve. This is the upper plunger valve.
Okay.
When they set in the well, they are approximately 2 inches apart.
Okay, so when
it's pumping.
What he was showing is that usually you take your sucker rods and you bring up, this is on the end of the sucker rod.
Yes.
And this is 2 inches below.
Right.
So you bring this up and you take it off is usually first thing you do. The reason we didn't on ours is because our well had been pulled recently, but that's really, you want to do it this way.
If you try to pull everything out at one time, there is a chance of some of this area cracking or this area cracking, and then you have a damaged unit.
Okay, so you're going to take this off, set it aside, and then you're going to go back down in the well with your sucker rod and screw it into these threads, and then you're going to bring up your check valve from the bottom. Okay,
Yes.
That's the first thing you do.
Right.
Okay, so now we're going to change the leathers. The leathers are 95. Let's see right here. 95 is what they're called, and they look something like this. And so you see him scratching off the inside. What is he scratching off, Mr. Rueffer?
He is scratching off a little portion of this top edge so that it slides better.
Okay. Okay. So let's watch you change on this check valve.
Okay, first of all, you loosen, it's very tight. First of all, you take the bottom off. As you can see, here's the check valve from the underside. It'll fall right out. Every once in a while, you have to replace this rubber washer here that sets on top of this to seal the water off. It can get wore also. But see how easy that is? Just take this one off, drop another leather on, and then tighten it completely tight.
Okay.
With a wrench. This particular bottom leather, you do not have to trim the inside off on the bottom one.
That's the check valve.
That's the check valve.
Okay.
You do have to trim these off here on this plunger valve.
Okay.
See, it's got the same check here in the top, and it has the same little rubber washer that can be damaged and replaced from time to time.
Okay.
Each of these 3 leathers, see, someone has already trimmed a little portion around on this one.
Okay.
It's out of the box.
But this one's not, so look at showing the difference between one that's trimmed and one not.
See, it's still thick. This one has got a little trim.
Okay.
All right. Remove the other leathers and washers in between.
Okay.
Down to your main barrel. To replace them, you take and trim the edge off slightly of each leather and just replace with this going down inside of each leather.
Okay, so you see the, I guess, I don't know what that's called, fits inside, right inside the leather.
Right.
So they...
And then this screws back into the upper check.
Okay.
What the well man was doing first is he took this over and he took a screwdriver, stuck down in here, and kind of stretched this leather out to make it a little tighter fitting around
on the third one.
On this top one.
On the top leather. Okay.
To make it a little tighter fitting when it slides down the cylinder, because these will swell up a little bit in the water, make a better seal. Take that, screw it back on tight, and then we're ready to
you're going to send
put it back down.
The check valve, the bottom one goes in the well, you know.
We just dropped.
You dropped it, and
you just dropped this in.
You hear 2 hits, I believe.
When it splashes water, and then when it hits the bottom of the well.
Okay. So you'll let that. You just put that one in, and then you put.
And it wedges. And it wedges at the bottom of this cylinder.
So the plunger, you put the sucker rod, you thread it, you know, screw it back in, and you put it back in that way.
Right.
And it's, remember, 2 inches, just like that, down in the well.
Right.
Okay, so what I think would help is I'm going to put a link to AEROMOTOR, and there's some diagrams that show you how windmills pump water up, and I think that would really help you. Okay, Mr. Rueffer, another thing is on the sucker rod, the little round things, I couldn't really hear or understand what
sucker rod guides.
Okay, and they're to keep
the sucker rod guides are, there's probably ever so often, and they keep the collars where the sucker rods are joined together. They have a, you know, it's a bulge where they're screwed together, and it keeps that area from rubbing against the inside of the pipe and wearing the inside of your pipe out.
Okay, that sounds good.
If there's a crack in your pipe, it will not pump water.
Okay. So the last thing we see him doing is he's going to the top of the windmill to put the guide wires back on
Yes.
the well
On the standpipe.
the standpipe. Okay. So he's putting the guide wires back in, and then he's checking the oil. So checking the oil, and that's about something you need to do once a year?
Check it once a year or so.
Okay, and the leathers, it's just whenever they wear out. So our leathers, let's see, we've had windmills maybe 8 years.
Yes.
So we really had rarely ever changed the leathers, but all of a sudden we just, maybe 8 months ago, had them changed, and we're having to change them again. I'm not really sure why, but anyway.
Could be bad leathers or just
Too much
luck of the
wind.
draw.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. And thank you, Mr. Rueffer,
Thank
for
you.
telling us what to do.
Thank you.
Please let us know if you have any questions below in the comment area. Mr. Rueffer would be more than happy to answer any questions, and if he doesn't know the answer, he will ask the windmill guy. Thank you for watching. From our Texas Hill Country farmstead to you, have a blessed day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.